It's on the table, the fire is cooking. The Texans are favorites against the Steelers. We better not be going hungry at the end of this game. No excuse for the Texans tonight against the Pittsburgh Steelers. None. You got supposedly the best defense in the league. Let's see it. You believe in C.J. Stroud. Let's see it. They're favored for a reason. I'm Paul Gallant. This is the Gallant Says podcast on Monday, January 12th, 2026. Hit it.
A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
Paul Gallant's wondering the same things a lot of people wonder.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to see.
Grow up, mother. Are you kidding me?
Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
Oi!
Oi!
Welcome aboard a late edition of the Gallant Says podcast live on YouTube at Paul Gallant, Twitch at Gallant Says, Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports, X at Gallant Says Pod, Instagram at Sports Gallant, and on Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports. It's also available after the fact wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Subscribe, rate, and review the Gallant Says podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify. Hell yeah, brother. So I haven't checked the latest line for Texans Steelers. I know the Texans are favored. It's a game between two teams that are powered by their defenses. At least conceptually, the Steelers are on paper. They don't rank there, but that's where the majority of their talent is. You've got two offenses that you've got questions about, but Aaron Rodgers has done a pretty good job in Pittsburgh this season, where with the Texans, you know that they struggle to run the football. You know that C.J. Stroud can be inconsistent from time to time. It's going to be real difficult. I'm not acting like this is going to be a cakewalk. You're on the road. Weather's not great. And you have all of those questions offensively. But you should win this game. If this defense is what we think it is, they should make life as difficult for Aaron Rodgers as the Patriots made life difficult for Justin Herbert last night. If C.J. Stroud is as good as we think he is, he should be able to move the ball against the defense with name brand recognition. If that defense isn't as good as it was expected to be this year. So, as far as actual game analysis and predictions and all that shit, I'm not really going to do a whole lot more than that. I'm just telling you that your expectation should be my expectation. There's no excuse for tonight. Take care of business. Win this game. Let's get you hyped up. Let's get you properly hyped. I want you to feel like someone named Kyle who's just consumed Monster Energy drink. And you're so hyped that you want to go Kool-Aid Man through some drywall.
Our city has something different about it. Something forged, not found. It's in our DNA. It's in every fiber of our being. We were once the Bulls on parade.
This defense, they are the real deal.
But now, Cap's got this team swarming.
How do we want to build a team? I want to build it with players who swarm.
See, we have a special work ethic and a relentless mindset that we never stop believing in.
When you think about a swarm, it's about that brotherhood, that togetherness, where we are powerful as one.
When you show up, you better be willing to do what they're not. Every snap, every breath, every hit.
And it's picked up. The takeaway train starts to roll.
Swarm is how work gets done. It's belief when no one else believes.
Texans run to save their season. Steps up. He's going to run. Mills. Touchdown, Texans.
At one point, it seemed like their season was falling apart. He believed the whole time.
This isn't about being heard. It's about becoming impossible to ignore.
These brothers are no joke. This defense is ferocious. They hit, they're rough riders. I mean, they come at you like that. Houston could be dead.
Rice gets popped by Petrie.
So listen up, because records, they don't mean a damn thing anymore. We let the whole world know who the Texans are.
Stroud well protected. Collins wide into the end zone. Collins. Touchdown. What a catch.
No matter what we're up against, no matter how we have to go out and find a way to win games, you guys do that, man.
A swarm is coming, and it's built to hunt, built to finish,
A humongous touchdown to end the regular season.
and built to stop anything in our way. And if you've been here long enough, you know exactly what that means. H is up, H-Town.
Texans swarm. Shout out to everybody who's watching along. If that JJ Watt video didn't get you bricked up, hyped up, your deep steel blue pill, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Shout out to some of the people hanging out. Brown Chubby Bears saying 20-13 Texans. Let's go. I feel like it might be lower scoring than that. Clay Anderson, what's going on, bro? Time to break another streak. Handle business in Pittsburgh. Some people who are watching along on TikTok, I apologize in advance. I am in a battle with TikTok. I've been in a battle with TikTok for about now 2 months because they restrict my lives after it starts. I'm not even playing music in the background, and it once again got restricted. So sorry about that. It's a different experience on the TikTok side of things. I would encourage that you try to watch it on YouTube or Twitch for the best possible experience. Some comments. Greg Todd says, Paul slept in late again today. Yes, I did. I took care of some stuff this morning, but I stayed up late watching Patriots and Chargers, and I had a few drinks. Okay. Chris Mena HTX says, I'm so nervous for tonight's game. I think it's fair to be nervous because there's no excuse to lose tonight. This is one of those games where you're really going to be disappointed if they don't take care of business. You're expecting them to make it to the next round. If they win, they would play the New England Patriots in Foxborough, which has been their house of horrors in the past. But one thing at a time. I don't think Pittsburgh's a pushover by any means. But I do think that given the way that they made the playoffs, the way that they won the AFC North, and the one game I watched them play against the team that the Texans would play next week if the Texans pull this one off, I think that the Steelers are bullshit. Go back a couple of days and take a look at the video on YouTube I posted where it says frauds on the bottom and all the Steelers fans who are getting butthurt about it. I think a lot of Steelers fans sort of look at themselves in the mirror this year and are like, what are we? We don't even really want Mike Tomlin around anymore, which is an interesting mentality to have. I think that some fan bases would tell you, you know what, you want to keep the great coach because it takes a while to find another great one. But the Steelers, cocky, arrogant organization. Fans the same way. They claim championships from the 70s. Hey, I probably would too if I were in their shoes. If you want to get a little more hyped up for the Houston Texans, I saw another video. I think this is at the city council. Slim Thug posted this.
Jacob Clementich. To be followed by Anthony Hayes.
Texas tatted on my arm. Got used to know my back. Cause of the city I'm from. Hands up if you feel that. My fall hard like a chicken. Every time you
Jacob, your time's running, Jacob.
first.
You know what? Hell yeah. Even Whitmire laughed at that. Is it a waste of everyone's time? Sure. But that was pretty funny. So shout out to Jacob. And I think he was playing the Slim Thug Houston Texans song. Houston, Texas on my arm. You know, I'm a great rapper. Everyone says it. Everyone knows it. Clay Anderson says on TikTok, if we've learned anything from this wildcard weekend, you got to finish opponents off thoroughly. Yeah, man. I think that the Rams almost learned that. The Packers definitely learned that. I think the Eagles are going to be kicking themselves all offseason. How do you lose to a team as banged up as the San Francisco 49ers? I think the Jaguars are thinking that right now. And we'll get to all of those teams a little bit later. I only have a few concerns for tonight's game, which, by the way, I will be watching at Easy's Liquor Lounge in the Heights with Will Kunkel. Come join us. It's $28 steak night and $4.50 brats. Plus, you get to hang with me. Should be a good time. The biggest concern I have, let's be frank, the Texans' best offensive weapon this year has been Kaimi Fairbairn, who tied an NFL record for field goals made in a season. 44 of 48 on the year. But it looks pretty cold. No? I saw a video that the Houston Chronicle posted, and I'll show it to you in just a second, with my guy, Steve Beckholt there, the ultimate Texan amongst others, the traveling Texans. I mean, look at this. This looks pretty miserable.
Crown and Coke, and I sip on it just until we get ready. And the minute I get ready into the stadium, I grab me an energy drink, and it's nothing but energy in the NRG Stadium, baby. Let's go.
I don't wash my jersey at all.
That's kind of gross, bro.
Then I tell her not to wash it.
I gotta have my favorite shirt, gotta sit in my favorite chair, and I always, right when I want to go on, I always hit my knee twice and then clap once.
Get a couple of drinks.
Margaritas.
Margaritas, definitely yes, margaritas. Yes. And then also get there for tailgating so we can socialize with other Texas fans and then just be ready for game day at noon.
Man, I just pray a lot, man. I pray for for our team to be healthy, man, and get off the field healthy as well, man. I believe in the power of prayer, man, and I truly believe that.
We go to one road game a year. We couldn't quite make it during the regular season, so here we are in lovely weather in downtown Pittsburgh.
Yeah! Oh, I brought some holy water too. They got holy water. We got holy water from Texas as well.
Swarm chant. I'm trying to think. When is the last time the Houston Texans played a game where there was snow? We'll get to Kaimi Fairbairn in a moment. The last time the Texans played a game where there was snow, I thought so. It was a Brock Osweiler game, December 4th, 2016 at Lambeau Field. They lost to the Packers in that game, 21-13. That's the last time I remember the Texans playing in a snow game. So let me check the forecast for Pittsburgh. I've seen a lot of images of snow in the greater Pittsburgh area. But say the weather is inclement. Say the weather is not ideal. That makes me wonder, 33 degrees. It's supposed to be a dry night. I think that the high is 36 today. Kickoff time, it's going to be about 32 degrees. Kaimi Fairbairn, in the last couple of cold games that we've seen him, sure, against the Chiefs earlier this year, he was 2 for 2 with his field goals and 2 for 2 for extra points. But 2023 against the Ravens, he missed a field goal. The first go-round against the Chiefs last year, he missed that extra point right after that Tank Dell touchdown reception. And the playoff game against the Chiefs last year, 2 for 4 on field goals, and he missed an extra point as well. This is not me saying Fairbairn is bad, but kicking in the elements when you're used to kicking indoors, it's definitely different. So if it's a field goal game, I am nervous about Fairbairn. I am not looking at Fairbairn as automatic outdoors in the elements on a field that's not considered to be a good one. Other concerns. I like the Texans pass rush with Will Anderson, with Danielle Hunter, but I do have questions about how regularly they will get to Aaron Rodgers, who is not the Aaron Rodgers of old, but is still able at the very least to extend plays. Not to the same degree that he used to, but the Texans pass rush is really built on the edge. And while I do like what they have from a defensive line depth perspective, I wonder if Rodgers is going to be able to have the occasional extended play that turns into maybe a busted one. And look, the Steelers, from a receiver perspective, there's not a lot there. It's DK Metcalf, number one, Calvin Austin. They have Marquez Valdez-Scantling, another ex of Aaron Rodgers from back in Green Bay. But 5 of their top 7 receivers are tight ends and running backs. In fact, one of the running backs, Kenneth Gainwell, is their leading receiver from a receptions perspective. What's interesting about that is how are the linebackers going to do in coverage? How is Jalen Petrie going to do in coverage? So this is going to be, I think, a big game for Azeez Al-Shaair, who has been awesome playing at a Pro Bowl level, and a big game for Jalen Petrie, who also has been playing really well this year. How are they going to go? How are they going to fare against the Steelers' tight ends and against the Steelers' running backs? Because Jaylen Warren is pretty good out of the backfield himself. So really, those are my biggest concerns. But take a look at the injury report. It looks like Trent Brown's good to go. Titus Howard's good to go. Ariante Ursery's good to go. You're about as healthy as it gets as far as teams entering the playoffs. And guys are playing through the pain, of course. But to once again say it, there's really no excuse for the Texans tonight. None. I feel very good about their chances tonight. Let's read some more comments. Tay713 says Woody Higgins, Nico, and Schultz are going to have a touchdown. Damn, man, you're expecting an offensive onslaught. I don't know if I'm going to go that far. Greg Todd says the Texans better win. The Rockets are unwatchable right now. Yeah, I think they lost last night. What else do we have to talk about as we get closer and closer to the game? We're going to continue to do the show at 7 in the morning, but I have been lazy these last 2. Today's a bit of a difficult day because I got to take care of some car issues over the next 24 hours. At stake going forward, did anyone see this from Ian Rappaport yesterday? This was Ian Rappaport leading up to game time on NFL Game Day morning, talking about the future of the Texans.
Let's focus in on the Houston Texans playing Monday night, and they have built their stellar and talented team the right way through the draft. And the Texans now, guys, are going to face the problem that many really good young teams face. How do you pay all these guys? We'll start with C.J. Stroud, who they took early in the draft a couple years ago, has really risen to be one of the better young quarterbacks in the league. After this season, he is extension eligible. He's going to get his 5th-year option picked up by the team, and then they will sit down and try to figure out, do they do an extension this year or next year? For Will Anderson, they're all-pro and Pro Bowl defensive end, one of the best players in the NFL, regardless of position. He is extension eligible as well. Wouldn't be surprised if this offseason the Texans took a look at this. The top of the edge rush market is $46.5 million. With Micah Parsons, we will see if the Texans, who have been very player-friendly, get there with Will Anderson.
I think that it's going to be very interesting to see what Nick Caserio gives as far as a contract for those guys, because if you've taken a look at every single contract that the Texans have given out in the Caserio era, they've never given a contract longer than 3 years. It's usually a 3-year deal, and 2 of them are guaranteed. I think it leaves room open for negotiations down the road, especially if a player, say, outperforms his contract, but it's always a 3-year contract. Is that going to be what C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson get? Or are they going to want a longer deal? I would imagine they'll take the shorter deal. And the shorter deal, I think, does give the Texans a little bit of flexibility. I'm not going to act like I'm a cap expert. You want to follow Texans cap for that on X. But I imagine that's the kind of extension that they will get. There's no way Will Anderson's going anywhere. There's no way CJ Stroud's going anywhere. You're going to look at the contracts they get. You're going to be taken aback. But these contracts are just going to get bigger and bigger as the NFL salary cap gets bigger and bigger. Tay713 says, pay Will, pick up CJ's 5th-year option. I understand that you look at it and you think it's that simple, but no, the 5th-year option is basically like opening the door to a long-term negotiation. David will get as his agent. Do you want to play hardball with that guy with the way things went the last time you played hardball with him with Deshaun Watson? Probably not. Probably not. All right, Lost in Texas says, Paul, I forgot I have to go to traffic court tomorrow. Thanks for the reminder. Been driving my wife's old car, not realizing her sticker expired in 2021. Yeah, that is something my girlfriend also is doing. I've told her, hey, you gotta get new registration, babe. Love you. Hasn't done it yet, but I got a bunch of crap to take care of with my car right now. But no one cares about that. It'll be interesting to see what happens this offseason, and say they lose and CJ Stroud plays poorly. That's going to become probably the number one conversation all offseason long. Stroud, tonight is not a night to try and do too much. Take what the defense gives you, death by 1,000 cuts. But he's going to have to be accurate outside because this Texans team can't really run the football. And the Steelers are really good at stopping the run. No Davis Mills tonight. Davis Mills is celebrating the birth of his first kid, so he won't be making the trip. Congratulations to him. It does make me a little concerned about what happens, say CJ Stroud gets hurt. Because who the hell's the next man up? I'll be honest. I'm not going to lie. I don't know. I think that it's Graham Ertz, right? Yeah. Oof. Anyway, as we get closer and closer to Texans Steelers, I'm just going to show you some slop. I need someone to let me know if this is real or if this is parody / AI slop, because this melted my brain a little bit. Look at this.
DeMeco Ryans, he threw a little shade like when they interviewed him.
Damn, you guys are fired up by the Steelers, huh? Man, can't wait.
He's saying, y'all being real disrespectful. He said, you telling me that we should be worried about the Steelers? I'm telling my guys, yo, we already putting this chip on our shoulder. They don't have no respect for us. He said, you talking about the Steelers pass rushers? It's telling me that he feeling disrespect. He said,
this is Joey Porter and Joe Hayden, by the way. He keeps going.
Y'all asking me about Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt. We the number one defense in the NFL. Y'all talking about a defense that damn near give up more passing yards than we do as a whole team as a defense. And you over here asking me about the Pittsburgh Steelers? We the Houston Texans. That's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying.
He ain't got to say it.
I like how Joe Hayden's absolutely giving nothing to this conversation right now. That's what he's saying. Just repeating him.
Of not saying it, and what he did say says what he said. TJ, Highsmith, Cam, Jalen. He's saying this to y'all. Nephew. He said, yeah, y'all the number one paid, but you ain't playing like it. Ooh. That's what he's saying. Ooh. That's what he's saying. Where you at, D? They could be number one this season, but when the playoffs come, it's single game elimination. You only good as your last game.
That's for
and
sure.
We damn sure need to be better than we did last game. Show me defense.
There's no more film study. You're going to Cancun. We're not asking them to do nothing that we haven't seen. Lock in, guys. Everybody do your job. Every man whoop a man.
So that's the Debo and Joe podcast. So there you go. A couple of people are saying that Davis Mills is in Pittsburgh. Okay, interesting, because I got an email from the Texans saying, travel update. Davis Mills will not travel with the team to Pittsburgh. Carter has been ruled out. Mills is questionable. But Mills is there. Okay, cool. Just another, not saying that, says, told you Paul don't know sports. Listen, you're here for the entertainment. You're here for the entertainment. Okay? You're not here for the riveting breakdowns. And by the way, like that's what I'm competing with. I'm competing with the Debo and Joe show. And I mean, goddamn, that is a stellar program. Clearly. They're both wearing glasses inside. And Joey Porter has grills in. Wait, that's not Joey Porter. My bad. That's James Harrison. I'm confusing my Steelers linebackers. But, yeah, man. James Harrison and Joe Hayden. Fun, bro. If Texans lose, Paul isn't playing. Well, there's no excuse for tonight, bro. No excuse. But they think that DeMeco Ryans, they think that this from DeMeco Ryans was shade. This is definitely reaching.
DeMeco Ryans, he threw a little shade like when they interviewed him.
Damn, you guys are fired up by the Steelers, huh? Man, can't wait.
I'm annoyed, DeMeco, that there's just a lot of questions about the Steelers, and perhaps he's going to try to use this as motivation to say, they're talking about the Steelers, not about us. But, man, these press conferences, and we'll get to a little bit more press conference talk as we talk about what went down over Wild Card Weekend. Oof. It's rough. Everyone's going to try their best to find motivation wherever they can. If you saw the interview that I did with Andrew Filipponi from 97.3 The Fan in Pittsburgh, I mean, you could argue that this is a bit of a stretch, motivational fuel for the Houston Texans. This little clip from Mike Tomlin.
I think if DeMeco Ryans wants it, and I feel like he doesn't because he's got too much respect for Tomlin, I think he's got bulletin board material. Tomlin talked about Houston and Stroud on Tuesday.
This is what that sounded like because for whatever reason, the Steelers put NFL Films video over the top of that quote. And I'll get copyright struck if I show it.
And Dave, I thought more credit to Davis Mills for the Texans winning 9 in a row and making the playoffs than he did Stroud.
I got a lot of respect for C.J. Stroud and his body of work and what he's been able to do in this league over a short period of time. But I'm also very respectful of the veteran presence that Davis Mills provides. I think he went 3-0 this year as a starter. He threw 5 touchdowns and 1 interception over the course of that span. And I just think that when you're able to absorb the negativity of playing without your quarterback and maintain your offensive rhythm and take care of the football, I just think that's an asset to a collective. And to be quite honest with you, I think that 3-game stretch that he had was really the catalyst for this 9-game stretch that they're on.
So, much like it's a bit of a reach, DeMeco Ryans is throwing shade at the Pittsburgh Steelers with the way that he answered that one question. It's definitely a bit of a stretch to say that Mike Tomlin is dissing C.J. Stroud by talking for 180% longer about Davis Mills than about C.J. Stroud or whatever, you know? Tormund Johnson says Tomlin's trying to court Davis Mills as his next quarterback. Maybe, but I guess Mills, who's not traveling with the team, will be in Pittsburgh, so I'm assuming he's going to be the backup. Good for him. God, that's got to be tough. Now, it's not like he's got to prepare to be the starter, but he does have to be ready, and we've seen him used this season coming in to spell C.J. Stroud. At the very least, he's played this season, not rusty, unlike a couple of years ago where, remember they went with Case Keenum instead of Davis Mills for that game in Nashville against the Titans. Anyway, we're going to talk about that Jacksonville Jaguars reporter and all the hullabaloo from that. But, you know, everyone's bitching and moaning about the state of sports journalism. I want to bitch and moan about the state of the content game. And perhaps this is one of many reasons that I should just leave this thing entirely. All you got to do these days is be a hot chick. And even if your content's dog shit, they're going to throw a ton of money at you. I say that because there's this Steelers account at Amanda C. Vance who's posting brain busters like this one. Houston, you have a problem. And she's just wearing Steelers shit with the Miller Lite. It's very original to say, Houston, we have a problem. But this person is getting paid a shit ton of money by all these gambling websites that are furthering sports gambling addictions. And she's throwing out wrong information as a gambling expert, getting paid to be a gambling expert. Here's something she posted yesterday. CJ Stroud is 0-3 in weather under 35 degrees. This is Pittsburgh right now. Now, that is actually Pittsburgh, but technically, and she got community notes, Stroud's record in games below 35 degrees is 1-3, not 0-3. Look, she got community notes there. So, but this is the game. This is what I got to compete with. And it depresses me a little bit. She's got a sister, by the way, who cosplays as a reporter, Emma Vance. This is the chick that acts like she's breaking like news on Giannis, but basically she just posts pictures of herself, and it says breaking news per Emma Vance, and she's just taking it from somewhere else. And look, she's a strong, powerful, independent woman. Not as hot as my girlfriend, of course, but she's the lead reporter for @Polymarket Sport, which is another one of these bullshit gambling websites. But this is what I got to compete with. And it's not about the kind of content you put out there. It's about, are people going to stare at your tits or ass or whatever? And listen, I respect that they don't respect the game, because the game is stupid. Scam people all you want. But if you do want gambling expertise from DraftKings, is that it? DraftKings and the DraftKings Sportsbook. This is the kind of analysis that you're going to get from noted gambling expert Amanda Vance.
There's not many things better than waking up in the best sports city in America. But there is one thing. I've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook. Bet $5, and if your bet wins, you'll receive $300 in bonus bets instantly. It's the best time of year to make the crown yours, so download DraftKings Sportsbook and use promo code Amanda Vance.
Why the fuck is she looking off camera? What are you looking at? What are you looking at? The scenic view of dying industry in the Rust Belt. So yeah, like that's a gambling expert these days. We got more from Amanda Vance, because for whatever reason, once I saw one video, I started getting annoyed that it was popping up on my feed, and naturally, X just shows you things that they know are pissing you off. This is noted gambling expert Amanda Vance, a Steelers fan, just with riveting sports gambling content.
All right, guys, my team is about to play for a playoff spot tonight, and I'm making this video before the game. I'm gonna post it after, so hopefully I'm very happy. But normally, I sit on the visitor side, but tonight I got cheap last-minute seats on the Game Time app, so I'm gonna be sitting on the home side. And I think it's gonna help my luck. I think we're gonna have an amazing time, and my team is gonna win. Let's check in a couple hours.
Okay, and like the game's well over. She had someone take this picture.
And my team won. That was.
I'm gonna shake things up and go by Paula in the near future. You know, might have to do that. But this is what you compete with in the content game. It's look, here's Joy Taylor, who's not at ESPN anymore, who's posting for the Chalkboard, which is another gambling fucking website. And here, the picture, what is the picture here? What's the picture here there for? Here she is, and her tits are out. Congratulations! You get an $100 deposit match and a free pick at Chalkboard. Like, this is what sports media is now. It's just hot chicks posting you can get addicted to gambling with some bullshit site that you probably never actually get paid out on. Which, by the way, I will gladly do. I will do this myself, my bookie. I will do this myself. This is it. Like, here's another one. Here's some AI chick for Lavish Luck Casino. I'm not even going to play the advertisement in the background, but just look at this shit. This is not a real person. This is how good the AI is now. And what? Why would you play this? Why would you do this? Anyway, more riveting content from Amanda Vance, who is saying Houston has a problem, but she has been calling for Mike Tomlin to be fired for weeks. And again, like this is the content game in 2026. Here's part 1 of 3 where she's calling for Mike Tomlin to be fired. Again, her fearless leader.
Update. I feel like shit. I believed in Rudolph. I don't know where we go from here. We could still win the division. We could still get into the playoffs. But what's gonna change? Man, what's gonna change? God, if Tomlin kicked that fucking field goal and he went for it, like, motherfucker just doesn't know how to win games we should win.
Other than, you know, the Super Bowl and all that.
I feel like shit. So, I think the only answer is to fire Tomlin. Fucking rebuild, man. Start over. I'm so upset. I don't know what to say, but if you...
You're smiling. Content, this is what I'm competing with in 2026. Here's more riveting content from, you know, the future of sports media. Fire Mike Tomlin. She's posting a picture in front of the tree. And then you got this one. But now this person's like, Houston, we have a problem. I'm totally back on board. This is what I'm competing with. Does it make me want to off myself? No. But it does make me want to leave. Because it's posting a picture of yourself looking hot with some link to some gambling website. It's posting something that a lot of people in the fan base are going to agree with at all times, which is fire Mike Tomlin. Lots of Steelers fans want him out. Or it's just straight.
Is the man retarded? Let me apologize for using that word. Oh. I have my first cousin. We just put him to... He died a few months ago.
Easy, Chris Broussard, okay? Easy. Let's not go that far. But, like, this is the range. This is how you get endorsed by one of these gambling websites.
Guys, the Dolphins are going to win tonight. Should they win? No. Mike Tomlin is undefeated in Pittsburgh on Monday Night Football. TJ Watt's out, whatever. The Steelers should win this game, but they're going to lose because there's nothing that the NFL wants more than 1 million fucking views week 18 when the Steelers play the Ravens. They've been hyping it up on TV every single fucking week. That game is going to matter. I don't care what it takes. Look for the fucking fishy ass calls tonight. The Dolphins are gonna win. I don't want them to. You guys can pull out your little fucking cheerleader shit, but I'm a fucking Steelers fan. I hate Miami.
Hey, I'm gonna swear because it's cool. I used to do that when I was in 4th grade, for what it's worth. I still do it to a degree, less so now. More just script talk from this strong, powerful, independent woman reporter.
I have said it for weeks. Steelers, Ravens, week 18 is going to be for the division. I just went to look up tickets, TBD. They're going to make that shit fucking Sunday Night Football. The Steelers should win this game again today. It's almost looked like, oh, it's not going to matter because they're going to close out the division. No, it's going to matter. It's going to matter.
You hear, like, you're posting a 40-second clip. Multiple takes. Can we get a good take out? A good takeout, but it's a low bar. It's a low bar. Be hot. That's all it takes. Sadly, I am not a bleached, blonde, spray tanned lady that almost is as strong, powerful, and independent of a woman as her reporter sister. But these are the Vance sisters. Are they twins? Twins? I don't know. But yeah, seeing that and then seeing that James Harrison, Joe Hayden podcast, like that's the slop that gets more views than me. So I mean, I should just pack it up. What else do we have here? Let's talk about what's going down in the playoffs. Shout out to Just Another who's sticking around. We appreciate you stopping by and watching content you don't enjoy. The Bills took down the Jaguars 27-24. This is one of those games where it's 100% on Trevor Lawrence. 2 interceptions in this game. He looked a lot like the Trevor Lawrence that we've seen for his entire career. I know that he had that stretch of games and CBS showed the graphic where he's actually playing really well. But watch that game yesterday where the Jaguars did a lot of the things that they wanted to do. Running the football. They were averaging nearly 7 yards a carry. Parker Washington was awesome. I don't think it was easy, per se, for the Bills throwing the football, but take a look at the running numbers. 273 yards on the ground, 9 yards a carry average, because they had a couple of reverses and plays that involved Josh Allen taking off and running. This was one of those games where if you're the Jaguars, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, what do we do now? You're stuck with Trevor Lawrence, who you thought was better. Do you move on from him? Do you have the ability to get rid of that contract, to trade it somewhere else? Not really. You're stuck with Trevor Lawrence going forward. So how's our friend UCF Jaguars doing? Remember him? UCF Jaguars. This is from 2023 after the Jaguars won that game against the Texans on the Matt Amendola field goal at the very end. Everyone remember this moment in time?
Texans fans, I tried to tell you guys. The Jaguars run the AFC South, okay? This is our division. Trevor Lawrence is better than CJ Stroud. Better luck in 2024. Have fun competing with Indianapolis for second in the AFC South. Duval.
And then, like, every game the rest of the way. Outside of one, and missed the playoffs altogether. Well, this is UCF Jaguars after the Bills took down the Jags 27-24 yesterday. It does seem like this fella is in denial again.
But I will say this, we still have the best quarterback in the AFC South by a mile. He's up and coming. Jaguars are going to be running this division for the next 10 years. Like I don't see any other team competing with the Jaguars there.
So when you lose, this is sports media in 2026. When you lose, you make sure that there's something in there that can be used as rage bait, especially if you know that there is a specific fan base that pays attention to you. Texans fans pay attention to UCF Jaguar because they like to clown him for that moment back in time. And these people are going to post clips of you, and the internet is going to run wild with takes about your take. Because that's how it goes these days. Either you're one of these Vance broads or you're this guy rage baiting once the season's over and you realize the content game is going to be a bit of a desert for you for the next 8 months or so, outside of right around the NFL draft. But UCF Jaguars, we wish him well. He is going through it at this moment in time. He still thinks the Jaguars are going to run the AFC South for the next 10 years and that they have the best quarterback in the division in Trevor Lawrence, who, his words, not mine, is up and coming. That's fun. There's a lot of hullabaloo coming out of Jaguars Bills on the internet about something that, let's be frank, it's crazy that this is occupying anyone's time right now. Liam Cohen, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, did a press conference after the season-ending loss, and this question was asked of him. It's not really a question as much as words of encouragement. Here it is.
I want to tell you congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank
you.
you.
Hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank
and you did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't think that Liam Cohen enjoyed that. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't have enjoyed that either. If I am the head coach at the podium and this sweet, seemingly older lady is offering me words of encouragement after a loss, not going to lie, I would be pissed about it. Feels a little patronizing. Oh, little boy, you lose? Oh, keep your head up, buckaroo. You'll get him next year. Adam Schefter posted this back and forth saying this is an awesome post-game exchange between a reporter and Jaguars head coach Liam Cohen. Perhaps Schefter knew what he's doing, engagement farming, rage baiting, because he knew that this would turn into somehow, some way, one of the most discussed wild card storylines after a fantastic weekend of football. You've got a lot of people who are reporters covering a team saying, this is not what you do. I think I saw one post from a Indianapolis-based reporter who said, this is not what you do in situations like this. Let me see if I can find the actual post that he made. Because the way that he wrote it made me feel the need to push back. Here it is. This is from James Boyd, who covers the Colts for The Athletic and hosts a radio show there as well. The post, the Liam Cohen reporter pep talk speaks to a larger conversation I have when speaking at schools about my job. Humble brag. You have to love storytelling more than a specific team. If you only want to write about the Colts because you love the Colts, you can't call yourself a journalist. Pause. People aren't getting into sports media to be storytellers. You get into sports media because you love sports. And some people, these days especially, get into talking about teams because they are enthusiastic to diehard level fanatic about their team. No one has changed sports media more than Bill Simmons probably over the last 20 years. And while being a Boston sports fan, talking about things through the lens of a Boston sports fan can be insufferable, it has opened doors for so many different people to do similar things. Before Bill Simmons, everyone was a curmudgeon who would bitch and moan about a question like that being asked at a press conference. And I'll be honest, if I were at that press conference and I saw that there, I would at the very least laugh to myself and be maybe a little bit annoyed about that, though I wouldn't really have as many. I wouldn't be looking at Liam Cohen after yesterday's game and be mad about him getting a pat on the head. If it was Trevor Lawrence getting a pat on the head at the post-game press conference and I'm someone who covers the Jaguars, I would have been pissed by that. I'm not going to get mad about this, though, if I'm in that situation. But I would have definitely laughed. There's some guy that sounds like he's straight out of Friday Night Lights, the television show, who's been at Houston Texans press conferences for years, and he asks questions that are a lot like that. They're a little kiss ass in nature. If you got thoughts about this, and if you're somebody that's in my shoes, talking to people that are in the media about it, like behind closed doors, go ahead. If you talk about this publicly and try to shit on this, the vast majority of people are going to say, fuck off. This is why no one pays attention to establishment media anymore. They just are. Now, if you are in a setting like this and you are somebody who is a beat reporter for a team, you're not supposed to ask questions like that. You're supposed to be professional. But sometimes fans have an expectation of you to ask a question in a very abrasive and angry way because you are supposed to be the voice of the fan in that setting. You have to find professional ways to word questions like, why should you stick around next year? Why should this team keep you next year? And I've done that before. Bill O'Brien started 0-3 in 2018, and after talking with Landry Locker before, Landry said, you got to ask this question. So I did. I asked, why should the Texans have confidence in you going forward after an 0-3 start? And by the way, they won 9 games in a row, which was at the time the franchise record for a winning streak, which they tied this season. They started 0-3 this year and rallied from that and finished 12-5, and we'll see what happens in tonight's game against the Steelers. There are ways to frame a question that the fans want asked when it's abrasive in nature, but a lot of fans want you to ask the question like an asshole. So if you want the fans to ask questions like that, I imagine there are some fans out there who want those who are covering the team to echo that sentiment to the coaches. Is that professional? I don't know. The big thing that I ultimately get back to is that I just don't think that journalism and sports go hand in hand. We cover a form of entertainment for predominantly men. And the idea that asking a coach about decision X, Y, or Z after a game is journalism, to me, is wild. Now, you do have to ask those questions, but how often do you even get an honest, straightforward answer? So, as we kind of move from a world of sports journalism, whatever the fuck that is, to a world of content creation, a moment like that at the press conference podium with that lady being very kind to Liam Cohen after a loss, to me, that is infinitely more valuable than anything that Cohen would have said up there at that podium. Because I'm looking for things to talk about that I find entertaining. And that lady was sweet. Yeah, she's a reporter. I guess she's been covering the Jaguars for 40 years or so. What's her name? Looking it up really quickly. Her name is Lynn Jones, and she works for the Jacksonville Free Press. Some people are outraged that it's a black publication and that it hasn't been highlighted that this is a black publication asking the question. I don't know. I don't know if that necessarily is going to help with all the people who are being like such babies about it. I think it's funny seeing the backlash from all the usual suspects to it. Stuff like this is better going forward than anything else you were going to get from that podium as far as putting a show together or thinking about what's next for the Jaguars. Because if you're a Jaguars fan, aren't you feeling great about what happened this season under year one of Liam Cohen, even if you have questions about Trevor Lawrence going forward? Those questions are going to remain, but you feel great about the rest of the operation, right? Like they got a good defense. They're able to run the football. There's a lot of good in Jacksonville going forward. Doesn't that moment sort of highlight where the Jaguars are right now, unless you are constantly preoccupied with what the fuck happens to Trevor Lawrence next? So I'm seeing all the backlash there. I'm amused by all the backlash. This isn't how journalism is done. Well, journalism has changed a lot. I don't know how it's done at all, as evidenced by the beginning of this show, which is why I made that point to get us to where we're at here. we're at a point now where whatever works, works. I can hate on the people who are successfully playing the game, or I can follow along and join it. And shout out to this lady who's been in the game for 40 years, finding a way to be more relevant than anyone in Jacksonville and Jacksonville sports media after this loss. Sports journalism isn't real. You're talking about fucking games. Journalism involves covering what's going on in Minnesota or what's going on in the Middle East or what's going on in Taiwan, all these other places, right? This is just covering a fucking game. So to see everyone get so sanctimonious about what can and can't be asked at a press conference, there's nothing that she did there that was rude to anyone other than the other people who were there. And the idea that a question like that is going to make it more difficult for the other people in that room to do their job is crazy. What, you need a quote to tell the story of the game? No. You watch the game. Josh Allen beat him. Trevor Lawrence blew it at the end. Do you need to hear from Liam Cohen or Trevor Lawrence or some of the other Jaguars after the game to tell the story of the game? Not really. So there you go. I have no issue with this reporter. None. What else went down? What else What else went down wild card weekend? Patriots 16, Chargers 3. The Patriots defense played a lot better than I thought they were capable of against the Chargers. I have some real issues about the Patriots defense. I think that they can be had, but they did a hell of a job getting after Justin Herbert, who once again comes up short in the playoffs. This is Mike Vrabel after the game talking to his players about what his defense did to Herbert.
Of all the guys, when they said we're waiting on one, I didn't think it was going to be Andy. Okay, listen to me, fellas. I can't tell you how proud I am, okay, to sit here and be your coach. Okay, you guys have worked so hard for this opportunity. We're going to enjoy it, okay? We said all along, you got to be willing to spill some blood, okay? And the big dogs come out in January.
He literally spilled blood, by the way. He got hit in the face by one of his players on the sideline after the game. That was awesome.
When Milk came over there, he knocked the living shit out of me. Yes, sir. But I ain't afraid to spill a little blood either. Okay, but I want to tell you this. We're a team, okay, and we're going to do this thing together. And everybody here is a part of it, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to figure out who we play next, and we're going to prepare, and we're going to get healthy, pick up the pieces, give you a plan, and go enjoy it, okay? Because what you guys have done is you believed and you trusted in the identity. And this is all for you. I want you guys.
Texans win. They play the Patriots next weekend in Foxborough. Greg Todd asks, Paul, who you're rooting for, Texans versus Pats. I would like to tell you that I would be rooting for the Patriots, but honestly, once again, the last couple of Texans-Patriots games I've watched, it's been weird. I'm not really going to be able to tell you until the game takes place. But we'll have a watch party of sorts, and of course tonight at Easy's Liquor Lounge in the Heights, we're going to have a watch party, Will Kunkel and I, for Texans and Steelers. More games from over the weekend. 49ers 23, Eagles 19. God damn, I don't know how the 49ers keep overcoming injury after injury after injury. George Kittle tears his Achilles in this game, but Kyle Shanahan, this might be his best coaching job. He's not going to win Coach of the Year, but I think he deserves a little bit of consideration. They have had absolutely no luck. All that's been bad luck, if you want to call it luck, on the injury front. Eagles fans, meanwhile, are pissed off at A.J. Brown, who had a sideline spat with Nick Sirianni. I am curious as to what happens next for the Eagles, as far as how Eagles fans are handling it. Here is a young Philadelphia Eagles fan talking about what went down.
Yes, this was a huge letdown. This was my Christmas present, and I got a loss.
Oh, no. You probably would have rather had Cole, huh?
Yeah, probably. I'm feeling two of two things. A, I want A.J. Brown packing his bags, and I want him somewhere else that is not here. I love you, AJ, but like, you can't make those drops in that game. And I also want Kevin Patullo flipping burgers at like the local McDonald's or something. I don't care.
Why do you say that?
Whenever he's an offensive coordinator, it's like he's flipping burgers. One side, he's cooking. One half, he's cooking. And the other half is completely raw. Yes, this was a huge letdown. This was my Christmas present.
So that's how Birds fans are feeling. That's probably the most PG Birds fan that you got after the game. I'm surprised that Eagles fan didn't cuss. So we'll see what happens with the Eagles next. If they trade A.J. Brown, if there's a coaching change, I imagine they will move on from their offensive coordinator. We'll see what's next. Bears 31, Packers 27. I stopped watching this game because I thought it was over. The Bears are going to bear. And then they came back and they won. It felt like a changing of the guard kind of moment. I figured Matt LaFleur would end up getting canned at some point today or tomorrow. But it sounds like, per Adam Schefter, the Packers are working towards keeping Matt LaFleur around. Can you do that if you're the Packers? It really feels like everyone wants a fresh start there. But maybe the Packers realize that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. More from over the weekend. Rams 34, Panthers 31. Thank God the Panthers are out. I'll give them credit. They were scrappy in this game. Bryce Young is just too small. Panthers fans ultimately started fighting Panthers fans towards the end of this. Here's I don't really know, but there you go. Brawl taking place in Charlotte. And the last thing that went down over the weekend as we wrap this thing up, Indiana 56, Oregon 22. Indiana's winning the national title. I think that game was the national championship. I think Miami's bullshit. ACC's bullshit. That win over Ole Miss, they deserve credit for. But this is the same team that blew a 21-0 lead on Syracuse last year. Yeah, it's with a different quarterback. I think a guy who's worse than Cam Ward and Carson Beck. I don't think anyone has a prayer against Indiana. Fernando Mendoza, goddamn. He's great. I don't know how he's going to fare in the NFL, but he is a hell of a player. So we'll see what goes down. Appreciate everyone stopping by. No podcast edition of today's show, but we do appreciate everyone who subscribes, rates, and reviews the Gallant Says podcast, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. If you haven't already, like this video on YouTube and subscribe. You can also give me a follow on Twitch at Gallant Says. I'd really appreciate a sub, but a follow, that works too. On X at Gallant Says Pod. On Instagram at Sports Gallant. On Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports. And on TikTok at Gallant Says. We will be back at it tomorrow at 7 a.m. Also, keep an eye on my YouTube and Twitch for the watch party of Texans and Steelers tonight at Easy's Liquor Lounge. Come out and join us. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. $28 steak night. And it'll be a rollicking environment. 450 brats. Can't wait to get out there. Until then, so long. Farewell.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain.
And have yourselves a wonderful rest of your Monday. Go Texans.